Hey guys, Larry here, and we are actually down in Wisconsin, down here at the farm where I'm originally from. And there was talk about maybe selling the farm or something like that this year. And my mom said no, she's not going to sell the farm this year, she doesn't think. So I'm actually going to be storing my snowmobiles down here for this summer. I don't have my shed built up there yet or nothing up in the UP. So I'm gonna be storing my snowmobiles down there. We always store all of our stuff. All me and my brothers, we always store all of our little toys and stuff around here. So I have to get these snowmobiles ready for, I guess it'd be called summerize. A lot of things you do for winterizing vehicles. Well, you gotta summarize, I guess, snowmobiles, right? So the first thing I did is I ran them out of gas. What I did was when I was in the UP up there, I sucked all the gas out of them, got most of the gas out, and then I dumped, it's called sea foam, and dumped that in with what was left in the tanks and everything, and I loaded them on my trailer and brought them down. And then I washed them. I had them out here with a bucket of water, and I washed the snowmobiles down and got all the salt and the road slime and stuff, all that off of the snowmobiles and everything else, and greased all the fittings. There was only two on this one, and there's actually no grease fittings on this one. And greased everything, and now I've brought them down here, and what I did is I hooked them up to a beam here, got the tracks off the ground, and I just ran them until they ran out of gas. And I was running quite a bit, and then I looked in there and I didn't get quite all the gas out, so I kind of put a hose down and I siphoned out the rest of the gas I could, and then continued to keep running them. And what happens is it runs that gas through on this one, the carburetors, and it's treated with that sea foam, and it treats everything in there, but it gets the carburetors dry. And some people used to say something about like the gaskets and the O-rings will dry out and stuff like that, but they don't. You don't want to leave gas in them. And I just got this thing running really good, had the carburetors rebuilt and everything. And I asked those guys, what do you think about winter or summerizing? What should I do with them? Just run them out of gas with some treatment in it? And they said, yep, do that. And they were telling me 90% of all the snowmobiles that come in their shop, it's always gas. It's always in the early winter. People bring out their snowmobiles and they're like, I treated the gas, but it's still running like crap. They gum up. So pull all the gas out you can, and stick some sea foam in there and just run them till they run out of gas. And some people like to fill the tanks back up so they don't get condensation in the tanks during the summer when it gets hot and cold and all stuff. The temperature changes, but I actually just run them dry, and then I will actually take the gas cap and loosen it up and let it so that air can get in there and stuff, and it'll actually dry it all out, and then there's no way of moisture getting in there. But on this snowmobile, on my Skidoo, this one here, I'm actually going to be pulling the clutch off of it. And this one here, the clutch needs to be rebuilt. When you first fire it up and you run it when it's cold, and you take off, like in my yard, and I'll go to load it up on a trailer or something, I'll give it some gas and everything, and it'll be going, and then all of a sudden the whole thing just stops and the clutch just slips. And I got to let off the gas and then go again. And it does it like twice, and it works fine for the rest of the day. This clutch has never been rebuilt. And so I have a very good friend down here in Madison, Wisconsin that comes up snowmobiling all the time with me. And this is what he does, is build race clutches for snowmobile racers and stuff. And so I told him, I'm bringing you a clutch. So we're going to pop the clutch off of the Skidoo here, and then I'll continue on with summarizing my snowmobiles. All right, so we need to pull the clutch off here. Need to get the belt off too, but I can take the belt with the clutch. Basically what you're going to need is just some Teflon tape. I do have a clutch puller, but I cannot find it. So I have bought a clutch puller for this thing. It's basically just the same thing as the bolt, except it's got a real long end on it that will push the clutch off. You can do it without. So this is what, 21 millimeter? Yeah, 21 millimeter socket. And pretty simple. And there's the clutch bolt. And then what you want to do is you want to wrap Teflon tape around it. So you just get it up so it's standing up on edge a little bit. And then you're gonna take some water. This is my drink that I drink all the time. And it's filled up to where the bolt goes, filled with water. And it's basically gonna work like a hydraulic thing. It puts water down in there. And you tighten it up a little bit with your hand. And then just take an impact. And you just run it in. And boom, she just pops off. And then I usually hang the belt back on here in the same direction because belts, they are directional. And if you wear them in one direction and you put them on the opposite way, then it will tear up the belt. And so I just hang them on in the same direction it came off, so that way next fall when I go to put this back together, I know which way the belt goes back on there. And so now, basically what we're gonna do is I have these roll carts. All right, so we got our move back in the corner here where I want it. And the reason why I store it up here is because I used to store my snowmobiles down in the bottom of the barn and they were completely out of the way and stuff. But the problem is that there's a lot of moisture down there. And so when I'd come and get my snowmobiles back out, all the nuts, everything would be rusted. So now I don't do that. We store them up here now and stuff because these barn boards, they got all these, you know, it's barn boards, they got little cracks in them to let the barn breathe for the hay that's in them. And that way there's an airflow that goes through here and keeps everything dry and doesn't rust and stuff. And we have cleaned up the top of the barn and gotten most of the stuff out of here and stuff, so there's so much room up here. Usually my brother brings in stuff and everything else and all their snowmobiles and stuff. And it gets a little crowded up here, but now there's a lot more room, so I'm storing mine up here now. But what we got done here is I have it sitting up on 2x4s. You can see it right there. There's one there and there's one right there. And they're stood up on edge. And the reason why is because this snowmobile has 2.5-inch paddles on it. The paddles on the track are 2.5 inches high. And if it sits all summer long on those, it's actually gonna bend them over when it gets really warm out and everything else, it's gonna bend them over. And that's not good, so we don't wanna do that. If you store your snowmobile on concrete, you really do wanna keep your track up off the concrete because it will actually rot the rubber tracks. So up here on the wood, it'd be fine. If you had like a trail snowmobile with a 1/2 inch, you know, lugs on, it'd be fine. But with these, with the big paddles like this, you want to put a 2x4 on the edge like that to keep it up so it's not sitting on the track like that and bending those over. Then the other thing is mice. Even though we got the mouse getter here, we still worry about mice. And so what you do is take dryer sheets. Mice hate dryer sheets. And what I always do is I'll put one up in here. Oh, the cat's closing my door here. Move out of the way, kitty cat. Put another one in there. We'll put this one down at the bottom. If I can grab a hold of it. And it's something with the scent on the dryer sheet that deters mice. And I've been doing this lately, last few years, and it works really well. Keeps the mice from getting up inside here and chewing on the wiring and everything else. And another thing that they love to do is they love to go up in the exhaust. And so I always stick one so it hangs out the exhaust like this. And so the exhaust comes out the bottom, so I have it shoved up in there so it hangs out. I've actually started up snowmobiles, and when I start them up, all kinds of junk just flies out of the exhaust. The mice, they make little homes in the exhaust cans. So we just kind of stick them wherever. Kind of stick them all over the place. And then we close that up. Can't get that one to go in there. There it is. We'll latch it up. And I always put a couple back here on the track too, so they don't run up the track. Go up underneath there. There we go. This cat wants to be petted really bad. We'll do the same thing over on this side. And store that away where I put my keys every summer. And then this one will be ready to go until winter time. So I'm gonna get the other snowmobile over here, put it alongside of it, and then I will get a tarp and put a tarp over the top of it and bungee cords and everything, and bungee cord it all together and stuff so that it's all covered and the birds don't poop on them and stuff. And the snowmobiles will be ready to go. So next November or so, I'll come cruising on down here and load up my snowmobiles, take them up, and they'll be ready to go. So cool. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day, great night. So watch this here video. If you're not, you can certainly try that all over again tomorrow. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.